first film, The Cost of Living, was finished, was still not in the can, and then we started on Forbidden Fruit, and I think they both went into the can around the same time. They were finished, and we didn't know what to do with them. Of course, we didn't know. One, we weren't expecting to be producing films in the first place, so that was the first question of how to do this. And then the next step is, you distribute them. You want to make money off them. So, how do you do this? Well, luckily, I lived down in LA, and the first thing that came across our plate was something called AFM, American Film Market. It's one of the largest film festivals, but not really. They call it that, but it's a film marketplace. Film festivals often have, like Cannes, often have the ability to sell films, and so they're more or less a market for films. So my parents, whose production company it was that put money in to create the films that I was acting in and had to therefore help produce, which was a good thing, we got together and started figuring out packaging and marketing and what we could do to try and bring the film to market and talk to people and hopefully sell it. So I got a ticket for a couple days and went around every single floor. It's insane in there. They've got companies from all over the planet, distributors, dialogue, translation companies, production companies that have films that are ready to be made, that are already made seeking distribution. You've got everybody from Lionsgate to Sony that have their companies there that are doing both. They're selling films and they're also seeking films. So all the largest studios are there. And you pretty much just go around and talk to everybody you possibly can. Schmooze the best you can and work your way. The best thing I can say from this is to work your way from the smallest fish towards the biggest fish. Don't start at the biggest fish, because the things you will learn when talking to people that you know not what to say or when not to say certain things is actually very valuable. So you might shoot yourself out with the big studios real quick if you start there. It was great, really cool experience, and ended up dropping off about, I'd say 45 out of 100 packages that I had. So it was not too bad in about 2 days. You know, you don't want to just throw them at everybody. And it literally was just, the packaging was a white manila, I don't know if that's manila, if it's white, but a white envelope with the DVD screener and a couple different pieces of paper with the poster and information that you would want on the film. So dropped that stuff off, and it kind of went into limbo for a little while. And then I think it was about 6 months, and a fellow producer, Jeff Madsen, who was actually the writer of the film, the reason things actually went into production and got made, he got a call from somebody saying that they wanted to see our film. Well, they liked our film, and they wanted to talk to us about distribution. Talk to us about, I think it was German distribution at first. Yeah, so you know, if the Germans are interested in it, you're not going to say no. And foreign marketing is always the largest market for your film, anyways. It's unless you have massive American names in the domestic market, you're not going to be able to get much of a sale. And if you do, it's not going to sell for very much. So, and foreign, there's 100 plus markets out there. So each one of those is America, and then some. So smaller, but we started there, and actually no, it was Germany was for Forbidden Fruit. That was for Forbidden Fruit. That was our second one. The first one came through for Australia. So Australia. Galloping Films, I think it was. They contacted us about Cost of Living, and so they jumped on Cost of Living. We signed some documentation with them, and in general, what it was they would sell your film, and I guess when you're going to do a second film, they have first rights to put backing down and handle the distribution of that as well. Now, the first film that we made wasn't that great. It was fun. We learned a lot on it, but I knew personally that, one, considering we didn't have any big names in it, or any names in it at all, it really wasn't going to get us much. So that's kind of where that went, and it stayed in Australia for a little while, and then I think was sold back to a distributor here or I wouldn't say sold, but it was, it traded hands into somebody here in LA. It was acquired by somebody here in LA, and which I think was actually worse off than Australia, so it's been sitting over there for a little while.
So when you say worse off, like, are you talking about money? Are you talking about support?
Support, definitely, and because every single time I tried to call the guy to talk to him, I was never able to get through. So, when you're trying, like, the fact that I was able to email the guy in Australia and he would respond within a couple days always made you feel good. And then you're trying to call somebody that you could drive over there in 10 minutes and no one wants to answer your phone calls when they're in the same city with you. So, there was kind of dead end with that one, but the film felt kind of like a dead end anyways. So that was with that. And then Forbidden Fruit came along, and I think it was about 2 months later. And both of these films we shot within a 4 or 5 month period, I think. So it's pretty, I don't know if you want to do that on your first couple of films, but you'll learn a lot. So the second one came through 3 months later with distribution, and I think it was first with Germany. They wanted to turn it into a TV show. So sadly, the way that we shot the film, we didn't it's called Forbidden Fruit. It's about a sex drug that ends up getting dumped into a drainage ditch, and then the irrigation ditch leads to a farmer's field. It sprays out onto these trees, and the trees have something called Vigora because it wasn't Viagra, right? And apples have that in it. So sexually, we didn't go there, and we really should have gone there because the marketplace would have been reeling for it. Sex and violence and swearing and all that stuff, if you're not playing PG for the kiddies, it sells as long as it's done well. That was one of our major downfalls with that, and it didn't really go that far with that one either. But the fact is, all in all, from making two films that, and actually, okay, so I can't say that Germany, I don't know if it actually went anywhere. We have a company that acquired us. Also, they're working with Germany. Actually, Germany had a bite from a company called Filmworks Entertainment, and Filmworks is out of Woodland Hills up here somewhere, and they've had our film for a while. And they repackaged it. They did quite a few things to it after we had it in the can and done our coloring and all that stuff. So not a lot's come back from that, but you've got distribution. It's really cool to see what a film distribution company will actually do for you, how much money they'll sink into your project, how they promote it and market it to other distributors out there. And so that was the second one. Was a much better film. So in the color, the quality, the acting, everything, you would hope so. So that's been in channels now for a little while. And it was a good experience, I guess, from all that. But I guess what I was going to get back to is that we were really lucky to have AFM happen so soon after we finished these projects, because had AFM not come along, it really would have been an interesting process of trying to get a hold of people. I mean, how many calls you have to make to try and... We've got a film, it's not that great, but we think we could sell it, and there's a lot of films out there that are really great, and they're still going straight to DVD. So in today's market, it doesn't matter what you shoot on, but it definitely matters. The quality of the film, the sound of the film is huge. We have so many places in our film, both of them, that sound either cuts, or it's a weird cut, so it cuts off, or it drops, or it's the levels are odd. And that's one of the main things that you'll notice as of course, a filmmaker, but as an audience member too. It kind of takes you out of it for a second. So those are really important pieces. Okay, so timeline from in the can to actually seeing first quarter numbers had to be at least a year and a half, I think.
Oh, that's not bad.
It's not that bad. No, I mean, and that's because AFM existed. If AFM, like I was just about to say, if AFM didn't exist, there would have been no way for us to access distribution channels that quickly. So if you have a market in your area, take advantage of it.